Imagine for a moment a turbulent ocean with large white-capped waves that rise and fall, creating a lot of agitation and restlessness on the sea so that you can't see anything below the surface. And now imagine, on the other hand, a calm lake that is as smooth as glass, that allows you to see at a great depth and allows the landscape to reflect off the surface. And there's quite a difference between that turbulent sea and the calm lake. And that difference is the difference between a life of sin and a life of grace. Or as St. Paul says in today's second reading, life according to the flesh and life in the Spirit. You see, life of an unrepentant sinner is never restful. Indeed, it is quite tumultuous. Why? Because the goods of this world do not content our hearts and are at times a source of pain and affliction. We seek after things like pleasure and possessions and pride and popularity, and these things never content our hearts. Moreover, if we seek happiness in sin, then we will find only bitterness and remorse, and there is no peace for the wicked. That's what the scripture says, and it also says that the wicked flee where no one pursues. The wicked flee where no one pursues. And the best example of this is Cain. You remember him from the book of Genesis. He was the one that killed his brother Abel. And when God confronted Cain with what he had done, Cain said, "Whoever finds me will slay me." And God told him, "No, they won't." But for the rest of his life, he wandered the earth, going from place to place, always feeling like someone was coming to get him. And what was it that left him without rest? It wasn't persecutors or enemies, it was his own wrongdoing and his conscience that testified against him. And you can't run from that. You can go from place to place, but wherever you go, your past and your conscience goes with you. I think this is also what we see today when people whose souls don't have rest go out and they want to externalize what is happening in their own souls. And so they cause chaos and mayhem in the world around them. They cause trouble. They need to make external what it is like in their interior life. And if we could speak to these people, we would tell them the problem isn't all of this. The problem is you. The problem is that your soul is like a turbulent ocean, never at rest. But Jesus Christ in today's gospel tells us where to find peace, where to find rest. He says, "Come to me, and you will find rest for yourselves." He invites us to submit to his gentle mastery, to take on his sweet yoke. And when we do this, when we go to God, who is the source of goodness, then we are content, and all of our desires are fully satisfied, and our souls become like a tranquil lake that allows the sun to reflect off of the surface. And God's goodness is then communicated to us and through us to others. And that is why it's important to have a peaceful, balanced, contrite, forgiven, and surrendered soul. And the history of the saints proves this point, and perhaps the best example of this is St. Augustine. He lived a rather dissolute life, seeking after the goods of this world and chasing some rather crazy ideas. And all that he found was restlessness until he found Jesus Christ. And that allowed him to summarize his life and the longings of our hearts by saying, "Our heart is restless until it rests in you, O God." Jesus says, "Come to me, you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest." He is the one that makes our souls tranquil and peaceful And so we go to him and we invite others also to go to his mercy and receive the same rest and peace that he offers to everyone.